everyone, what's up? My name is Joss and welcome back to my channel, squibblesreads. This is going to be my announcement and TBR video for January 2017's round of Diverseathon, which I am so super excited for. This round of Diverseathon is going to be running from January 22nd to January 29th, so Sunday to Sunday, and it is going to be hosted by myself, Christina Marie, Monica, and Simon, all of whose channels I will be linking in the down bar below. Just like last time, the hashtag for everything that's going to be going on every social media platform will be hashtag Diverseathon. One of our goals this time was to emphasize inclusiveness across all social media platforms, because we got a lot of questions last time and also this time as to whether this is a booktube only thing, and frankly I personally really dislike the type of segregation that can go on between social media platforms in the book community. So what we did this time is a blogger and a bookstagrammer are going to be joining our team. The bookstagrammer is going to be Mara from Book Marauder, and our blogger is going to be Naz from Read Diverse Books. We just want to continue to promote that type of inclusiveness because we are all just one big happy family here and we all love books, and it is definitely not a booktube only thing. Mara will be posting some prompts or tasks that you guys can do on Instagram, and Naz will be helping out a lot with the promotion of Diverseathon on his blog. I will leave both of their links in the down bar below. You can take place on any or multiple social media platforms, whatever you choose. If you are on multiple platforms, go for it. So if you are familiar with Diverseathon, just like last time, we are going to be hosting chats on Twitter instead of sprints because some of these issues that we can talk about are really personal to certain members of the book community. So actually hearing from these people, we can listen, we can learn from each other, and during those Twitter chats, one of the 4 hosts are going to be posting prompts or questions just like last time, and everyone can just chime in, also using the hashtag, so we can all be discussing whatever the topic is. The final schedule of those chats is yet to be determined. However, I can tell you a couple things. One of them is that this time they're all going to be held on the actual official Diverseathon Twitter, which is just at Diverseathon instead of our own personal Twitters, just to keep everything in one place. Again, I will leave that link down below, and as well the chats that I will be hosting myself. If you do want to join in with me, I will be hosting on the Wednesday and the Friday of next week, and the finalized times again to come later. There's also going to be a group book. Last time the group book was Homegoing by Ya Jessie, which was one of my favorite books of 2016. This time the group book is going to be The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, and I will leave the Goodreads link to that book down below if you want to check it out. We are also aware that everyone has different accessibility to the group book. Some people might not be able to get it for a variety of reasons, so we are making the group book totally optional, but something that is a little bit different this time is that we are going to be hosting one of these Twitter chats that talk about the book, the themes within it, the characters, how it can impact our own lives, etc. Another super common question that we get is, are there going to be any challenges, or what are the challenges? Because really commonly, readathons are associated with challenges and usually some are provided. So our answer is absolutely not. There are no challenges. The reasoning behind that I will get to in a bit, but we will definitely be promoting, even more than last time, Own Voices books. So these are books written by authors who identify with the same marginalized group as the protagonists that they are writing. I will leave a link to where Own Voices kind of originated from and how it was originally defined by the author Corinne Dalvis. It is not like a hard and fast rule by any means, but I will leave that link down below if you are interested in reading more about it. I did also do a discussion video around Own Voices books myself, so I'll also leave that link in the down bar for you. So a lot of the talk around Own Voices books centers around the characters in the story and their relationship to the author, which of course is important. But not only are we thinking about the characters in the story and what they can do and represent for people and how people can relate to them, but we are also thinking about these characters and authors in the grand scheme of things, so within the publishing industry, which, as we all know, members who are of the dominant discourse are in positions of power. That dominant discourse, just like society, is white, heterosexual, cisgendered, and able-bodied people. So yes, there has always been this discussion around whether authors of the dominant discourse can write characters who belong to marginalized groups, but I don't think that that is the whole discussion, and while that is a totally relevant topic, but if we read and promote and purchase Own Voices books, we are also looking to make a change in the grand scheme of things, so in the publishing industry where everything starts, so the marketing, where people sign book deals, and the advances they get, we are starting to make changes from the top down. So if you do choose to read a book that is not Own Voices, something that I do recommend is to do some research for some reviews by bloggers, bookstagrammers, booktubers, whatever, who identify with the protagonist who identifies with the marginalized group that is being represented by the protagonist. So this does come with an asterisk. Also, why we encourage own voices is because even though people can do interviews, have as many sensitivity readers as they want, it is kind of like playing a game of telephone. So the more and more people that the message goes through in the game of telephone, the last person will not deliver the message that the first person is trying to send with the same intonation, maybe not even with the same words. Something is getting changed along the way. And by reading books that are not own voices, which can be totally fine and have great representation in some cases, we are just elongating that game of telephone. But in the case that you do choose one of these books, definitely do some research for reviews by people within the book community who do identify with the same group as the marginalized protagonist. Also on that point, just because one person who does identify with the same group says that this is fine, or like reading this is just for fun, which again, a discussion for another day, this doesn't necessarily mean that the book is not problematic, especially if the book is not own voices. So these are all things to consider when we are choosing our TBRs for Diverseathon this time. So when you choose your books, just ask yourself whose voice we are really truly hearing within the book, and whether or not it is authentic, what type of change we are looking to do within ourselves and also within the book community and within even the publishing industry in the grand scheme of things, and whether or not your reading fits into those values and looking critically at it. So for example, books that are not own voices that have been critiqued over and over again by people who identify with the protagonist, or books with protagonists that are mostly of the dominant discourse with just a couple diverse side characters, those are books that we would definitely recommend you to pass on this time. That is not to say that you should never ever read these books, but that is totally not the point of Diverseathon. We would just urge you to be willing to get uncomfortable and sit with that discomfort within your reading, because things like ableism, homophobia, racism, these are things that make people uncomfortable every day. And frankly, what are we really doing if we're not willing to get a little bit uncomfortable ourselves and kind of experience that for ourselves, obviously not literally, but through books. And that is one reason that I love books, is because we can try to create that understanding and create that empathy. Like I said, we aren't going to have any challenges, but I did want to talk a little bit about why we aren't having any challenges. So this time we are encouraging the process as opposed to the content of reading more diversely, more so than we did last time. So by the process, I mean the actual seeking out, the researching, and the actual like motivation or ambition to read more diversely, not just within this week, but moving forward, because it really is a marathon and it is not a sprint. One of the other reasons why we are not having sprints on Twitter, because it's not about how many pages that we can cram into reading within this week or how many diverse books we can get through within the week, which is again a great goal to have, but not something that's sustainable and not something that will affect long-term change. This type of advocacy, again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon that has been running since Martin Luther King, since Rosa Parks, since slavery in Ghana, which we saw in Homegoing by Ya Jessie. So something that I would look at when choosing your books for Diverseathon from last time is some people were asking, is XYZ book diverse? And honestly, chances are if you're asking that question, there is a reason why you're asking that question. So instead of trying to fit certain books under an umbrella or trying to check off any boxes for diversity, or for lack of a better term, stretching or justifying certain books, instead seek books out. Be curious about maybe some books that you might be a little bit uncomfortable reading or don't necessarily seek out in your regular reading life. So what do you want to learn? How do you want to grow? Whose voices are we not hearing regularly? We are trying to create something that extends far beyond this week, far past the scope of this week, of these 3 books that we are reading this week. Beyond something that is trendy, because frankly, people's voices, my voice, voices of other marginalized groups are not trendy. Diverse characters don't only exist to send a message, and they don't only exist in hard-hitting contemporaries, and while I really do like those books, diverse characters can and should just simply exist. Diverse characters can be themselves and should be able to just see themselves kick ass in a book. You know what I mean? My phone that I filmed on just died, so it might look a little bit different, but finally we are going to move on to my TBR. The first book that I'm going to read is of course the group book, so I will be reading The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Again, I will be leaving the Goodreads link to the book down below. Christina Marie also did an amazing discussion about the book and just generally what it talks about in her Diverseathon announcement video, so I'll also leave that down below, but definitely check it out and join us in our chat about this book. Next, I will be reading an Own Voices middle grade graphic memoir. This book is called El Defo by Cece Bell. This book portrays Cece Bell's own experience with being deaf and how that has affected her life. There was also a note in the book that says that everyone's experience being deaf is not necessarily the same as other people within the community, and this is just one voice. I think for me that acknowledgement does make it all that much better, so I definitely can't wait to read this one. Finally, the last book that I'll be reading is Under the Udala Trees by Chinela Okparanta. This is a story that takes place in Nigeria, and a civil war breaks out. There is this girl whose name is Ijeoma. She has just come of age, and the person that she loves belongs to a different ethnic community and also is a girl. Together they grapple with all the different aspects of their identities and how that fits in with their relationship and within the cultural and historical context of their country. So yeah, that is it for this video. I think it'll turn out a little bit long, but I really hope you guys join us. Diverseathon again will be taking place from the 22nd to the 29th. Follow the official Diverseathon Twitter because everything that is happening will be on that Twitter instead of our personal accounts this time. So I really hope that you guys can join us. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!